they can celebrate tonight, and they have this man to thank for it. Scott Morrison has carried this campaign almost single-handedly. Yes, he's had the team support. There'll be plenty of shout-outs to all those who've done their bit. Andrew Hurst, the Liberal Party federal director, in his first campaign. Look, he's no novice at politics, but his first campaign as campaign director, and he's pulled this off. But Scott Morrison, clearly the one who deserves the most credit for all of this. Who would have thought back in August last year, when the Liberal Party was tearing itself apart on the leadership front, Scott Morrison emerged as a compromise candidate in many ways to pull it all together, to get into a campaign in enough shape to then win that campaign. And I can see his girls are there. They have not gone to bed, and they are looking pretty excited and wide awake as well.
Looks like Christmas Eve.
And isn't that great to see? Good for them. This is something they will remember forever. All right, and you can see the crowd are just getting as many selfies and snaps as they can of who will be a Liberal hero now, Scott Morrison. He's done the unthinkable for many in pulling off this victory tonight. We still don't know exactly how many seats they'll end up on. Bill Shorten called him about half an hour ago to concede defeat. We've seen him do that publicly as well. So now the way is clear for Scott Morrison. Perhaps not clear through that crowd just yet, but there are plenty of hands. He will be shaking. High fives as well. I'm just predicting here, how good is this? Might be the first words that come out of his mouth. All right. And the point we've been making tonight as well is not just the authority invested in him now, having won this against the odds, but the clear field he now faces. I mean, the disappointment for the Liberal Party and Tony Abbott losing in Warringah tonight, his departure, that of Julie Bishop, that of others as well, means that he is now unrivalled now in the leadership, Scott Morrison. And he really has it in front of him now as he, I think, has a brief congratulations there and a hug indeed from John Howard, who's as happy as anyone in that room, given what he did to help during this campaign as well. I think the girls are going to go up on stage, are they, with Dad? Yep, they sure are. It's been a family affair throughout this campaign. No surprise, they're all going to be up there to celebrate this. Let's have a listen.
Thank you, friends. Thank you, friends. Can I just start by saying, as you know, a little while ago, Mr. Shorten contacted me, and I thank him. I thank him very much in the spirit in which he made that call, and I thank him very much for his kind remarks to me and to Jenny and to our family, and I would like to wish him and Chloe and his family all the best and God's blessings. I have always believed in miracles. I'm standing with the three biggest miracles in my life here tonight. And tonight we've been delivered another one. How good is Australia? And how good are Australians? This is the best country in the world in which to live. And it's those Australians that we have been working for the last 5.5 years since we came to government under Tony Abbott's leadership back in 2013. It has been those Australians who have worked hard every day They have their dreams, they have their aspirations. To get a job, to get an apprenticeship, to start a business, to meet someone amazing, to start a family, to buy a home, to work hard and provide the best you can for your kids, to save for your retirement, and to ensure that when you're in your retirement that you can enjoy it because you've worked hard for it. These are the quiet Australians who have won a great victory tonight. Because it's always been about them. It's always been, for those of you watching this at home tonight, for me and for my government, for all of my team, it's all about you. Tonight is not about me, or it's not about even the Liberal Party. Tonight is about every single Australian who depends on their government to put them first. And so, friends, that is exactly what we are going to do. Our government will come together after this night and we will get back to work, just as Gladys Berejiklian got back to work here in New South Wales just a few months ago. And that is our task, and that is my undertaking to Australians from one end of the country to the other. I said that I was going to burn for you, and I am, every single day. So let me talk about some of our other miracles tonight. Melissa McIntosh out there in Lindsay. Phil Thompson up there in Townsville and Herbert. Bridget Archer down there in Bass. The big unit, Gav Pearce down there in Braddon. Terry Young up there in Longman in Brisbane. Sarah Richards, we're bringing back Macquarie. But in saying that, can I also say thank you to some great service, and I hope will continue to be service, at least in a number of these cases. Can I start off by saying thank you to Tony Abbott for your service to this country. And to Sarah Henderson and Chris Cruther and Warren Mundine, who are still in there, and we've still got votes to count, and they're not stepping back. Can I thank them very much for the hard campaign that they have fought. To all of those in the seats that we held going into this campaign, who had to work hard to ensure that as a result of their incredible efforts, they were able to be returned tonight, can I particularly thank Jason Wood, Michael Suker, David Coleman down in Banks, Lucy Wicks up there in Robertson, pretty much the whole state of Queensland. How good's Queensland? I never thought I'd hear that in this room in New South Wales, this close to Origin, I gotta tell you. But particularly to Bert Van Manen, to Peter Dutton, Trevor Evans, Luke Howarth, Michelle Landry, good old Ken O'Dowd, Warren Ench up there, right in the top, all of our Queensland members. I want to thank you. And we've got some great new members coming in as well. Dr. Katie Allen, she's down there in Higgins. Dr. Fiona Martin is here with us in Reid. Professor Celia Hammond over there in the west coming in Turton. Pat Conahan up there in Cowper. and Angie Bell up there on the Gold Coast. I want to thank all of my candidates, all of my members, all of you who have worked so hard to get them where we've been able to come to tonight on behalf of all of those Australians that we work for and we serve, and we do it humbly and we do it in great appreciation. I particularly want to thank a number of people who have been instrumental in tonight's result. I want to start by thanking Gladys Berejiklian, Stephen Marshall, the Premier of South Australia, and Will Hodgman, the Premier of Tasmania. They have led by example in their great victories, and they've shown us the way at a federal level. And they have worked so hard for us all around. Glad, particularly here in my home state. Thank you so much. And campaigning without drawing a breath, the great John Howard and Jeanette Howard. I, of course, want to thank all of my leadership team who have served so well and so loyally. To Michael McCormick and all of our team at the Nationals. To the Big Mac, as I like to call him, Michael McCormick, and to Bridget McKenzie. Thank you to all of those in the Nationals for the great job you've done in supporting us. We're a tremendous coalition, and we will be as we reform our government after tonight. I also want to thank Josh Frydenberg, my deputy, and to Amy and their kids. Josh is a great mate, and he's been a tremendous treasurer and a great deputy leader. And well done down there in Melbourne, Josh. You've held the whole team together, and we thank you, and I thank you very much. He has a pretty good budget too. Back in surplus next year. And of course to Matthias Cormann, who's been our Minister in Residence up in Queensland, and to Simon Birmingham, who has been our campaign spokesperson. But another person I particularly want to thank tonight is Greg Hunt. Greg Hunt is an outstanding health minister, and he stood up down there in Flinders, and it's great to have you back, mate. There's a lot of people to thank, but Andrew Hurst, our federal director, Hursty, and of course to Nick Greiner, who is a great son of New South Wales, our federal president. Together with Andrew Burns, our federal treasurer, I thank him very much, and all the state directors around the country. They have run an outstanding campaign. They have set a new mark, a new model, a new way for us to campaign as a Liberal and national team. And this has really set an entirely new benchmark, Hursty, and I want to thank you for your leadership of our CHQ. To my own team and my own staff, can I thank the Cunk, John Kunkel, my Chief of Staff. Can I thank you, Ron Finkelstein, my PPS, Andrew Carswell leading the media team. And can I also send a long thank you over the Nullarbor over to Benny Morton, who's been with me every step of the way, and all of my colleagues. It remains only to thank those who have been so close to me all of my life. Mary and John Morrison are here tonight, my parents and my brother Alan and his wife Susie. My mother-in-law Beth is here. They're just over here on the left. And Gary and Michelle, you all got to know Gary. How good's Gary Warren? Amazing fella. It's great to have you all here, and Jenny's family and Cecily and Rob. And my brother Alan, who I mentioned. I've mentioned Alan. We shared a room tour in university. You've probably heard me tell that story about 20 times. But to the dearest of my family who are with me here tonight, to my beautiful miracle girls, Abby and Lily. And the woman I fell in love with in my teens, and it's never let up. And now Australia has fallen in love with her, Jenny Morrison. So, friends, we've got a lot of work to do. We've got a lot of work to do, and we're going to get back to work. We're going to get back to work for the Australians that we know go to work every day, who face those struggles and trials every day. They're looking for a fair go, and they're having a go, and they're going to get a go from our government. Every single day, they are who we'll have right in front of us as we put in place and continue the policies which we know will keep our economy strong, to guarantee the essentials that Australians rely on, that'll keep Australians safe and secure, and most importantly, that will keep Australians together. We are an amazing country of amazing people. God bless Australia.
A great victory for the quiet Australians. The re-elected Prime Minister Scott Morrison says there, well, there aren't too many quiet Australians in that room right now. They are cheering what many agree was an unthinkable victory, even as late as yesterday. But here he is, Scott Morrison, 8 months after obtaining the leadership, and again, in an unusual situation where he wasn't even a candidate for the leadership until the very end. But now, after 8 months in the job, he has turned things around for the Liberal Party and the coalition, turned things around during the campaign. Tonight, he's turned it around again, and here they are, back in power for a third term. And Scott Morrison protected now as leader with the change in the rules. He should be there for the full third term. And, of course, he has that authority vested in him now as being the one who carried this campaign on his shoulders almost single-handedly. We heard him thank then all those who did help, including Matthias Cormann here on the panel with us, his deputy, Josh Frydenberg, the Nationals too. But there's no doubt Scott Morrison did far more of the heavy lifting in this campaign than we usually see. How does it now look? Well, here is the state of the House. With just over 70% of the vote count, 76 is a majority government, and the coalition sits on 73. Labor, 61. The Greens, 1. Bob Katter, Centre Alliance, 3 independents, 11 still undecided. So the coalition still need only 3 of those 11 to go their way to hit a majority. And the chances are they will do that. Here's what the chamber is looking like at the moment. This blue of coalition seats now nearly at the majority. Across the country, the vote, let's have a look at that. The primary vote tells the story of what's happened here tonight. It sits at 41.3%, higher than any opinion polls showed throughout this campaign, even at the end. The best they got was 39%, but they've done better in the actual result. The polls were wrong. Labor crashing down to 34%. Well, a couple of polls didn't indicate it might get that low, but that's a whole lot lower than they thought, and clearly not a winning position. The Greens finishing right now on 10%, and you can see some of the other smaller party results, including the Clive Palmer United Australia Party on 3.4%. After preferences, how does that put the two sides, the two-party preferred nationwide result? Let's take a look at that. The coalition now sitting on 51.6%, Labor sitting on 48.4%, and that is a swing to the coalition of nearly 2% after a 65% count. So that swing, 1.83%, is where that count is right now, and that is a winning position for the coalition. Let's go to Paul Murray and Laura Jays, who are there at the venue where we just saw Scott Morrison talk about those quiet Australians who've backed him in. It's now back to work. Laura Jays, what did you make of that speech?
It was a very gracious speech from Scott Morrison. He hit all the right notes, he thanked all the right people. He paid special tribute to Tony Abbott, who's lost his seat tonight. Special tribute to the giant of the Liberal Party in John Howard, who was one of the first there to shake his hand as he went up on stage. And having his family there beside him, you know, I just think he looked calm, natural, not overexcited, didn't look like the adrenaline was pumping too hard. This is a man, I think, who always believed he could win tonight. He always believed. He made people around him in his own cabinet and ministry believe that they could win tonight, and he has delivered for them. And it is, he's won the unwinnable election, Scott Morrison. He's done it for
correct. Look, and you have to unpack this, and we will, of course, do so in the next little while. But Australia is not as woke as Twitter would like to think. It is not as obsessed with the things that the media have so often talked about. Yes, sometimes it's a little bit daggy, sometimes it's a little bit naff. No, I'm not suggesting we are there's no like Scott Morrison and Andrew Hurst have worked out with absolute sophistication the simplest possible personal interaction between a leader and the people when they go into seats, but an incredibly sophisticated game to make sure that the 20 seats that would decide government or not were sandbanked, were worked on to make sure that it didn't matter what the mainstream media, what the polls or anything else did, that they were going to be able to hold on to those positions.
Well, they wavered from their mission, if you like. They didn't get spooked by the polls. They didn't make decisions on the run that were responding to events per se. They stuck to a plan. It was a simple plan. It was a simple message, and it cut.
Well, can I say too, I know that we all talk to the people at the heart of campaigns, and they all say that they are confident. They all say that it's leaning their way. Scott Morrison never doubted his ability to get to this moment. Now, whether this moment was going to happen or not is not in his hands, but he never doubted his ability to get to this moment. That's why you wake up in Tasmania and you fly all the way through the country, all the way through election day. It's why you push harder and harder every day, and with that simple presentation style, very at times Howard-esque in its simplicity, but I've got to say, in the same way we had Howard's battlers and all the rest of it, Morrison's miracles, I think, is where he was trying to get that on the front page somewhere tomorrow.
Indeed. Paul Murray, Laura Jays, thank you for all your great contributions throughout tonight. We'll get you and soak up some of that excitement in the room. Let's go to the